lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there, hello. Sits and stares through the back door screen. All the news just repeats itself like some forgotten dream that we've both seen. Someday I'll go and call up Rudy. What's new? Nothing much to do. But what's new with you? You know that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. But old people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there, hello. So if you're walking down the street sometime, spot some hollow ancient ties, please don't just pass them by and stare as if you didn't care. Say hello in there, hello.
Beautiful. Hello in There was written when John Prine was just 22, working as a mailman by day while honing his songwriting craft at night. And part of his mail route there in suburban Chicago included a retirement home. And as Prine would go from room to room making his deliveries, some of the residents would pretend he was a grandson or a nephew coming to visit. And the young Prine was so moved by some of their stories that he memorialized some of them in his lyrics. And this song actually made his eventual first album a hit a few years later. Now, after his death in 2020, John Prine's family established the Hello in There Foundation with the mission to identify and collaborate with individuals and communities to offer support for people who are marginalized, discriminated against, or for any reason are otherwise forgotten. I'm going to repeat the chorus of the song. And it says, you know that old trees just grow stronger and old rivers grow wilder every day. Old people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say, hello in there, hello. Now at 22, far removed from his old age, I can understand young Prine's perception of later life. And I wonder, as he reached his 70s, if perhaps he discovered that, like old trees and old rivers, that he too was actually wilder and stronger in unexpected ways. Still, his lyrics as a 22-year-old were never a condemnation or a judgment, because as his family foundation bears this out, it's a reminder to reach out. You never know someone's story, and we should never pass up an opportunity to slow down for a moment and to weave a small thread between another person. Now, I confess I was born at a different time in a smaller community, and it was a fashion to greet passersby where I lived and grew up. But I remember one time when I was very, very young, I was out walking with my mother, and I was exchanging hellos with people, and then this one woman said nothing. She didn't acknowledge us. And when we were out of earshot, I said quietly to my mom, "Mom, she didn't say hi back." My mom's gracious reply was, "Well, maybe she needed your greeting more than you needed hers." And I was stupefied by this little pearl of wisdom. Here I was, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I knew I was full of hellos. And perhaps to my mother's chagrin, for the rest of the afternoon, I went on a tear of friendliness until we got home. Hello in there. In this simple act of human-to-human kindness without expectation of reciprocation, it seems like such an earthly thing to do. A rabbi would call it a mitzvah. I once heard a Buddhist teacher call it stealth dharma. And despite being so simple to do not discount that this too is powerful spiritual work. A nod to an old hymn, it's a way of blooming where you're planted. Now, those of you who've heard a few of my sermons rightfully surmise that I have commitment issues. And by that I mean I have a problem with sticking to a single angle for a sermon topic or a single perspective. I'm compelled to turn scripture or a biblical story on its head, ponder it from different angles, and so it goes with Hello in There. When I consider Prime's song titled Metaphysically, it does conjure up Namaste, the God in me greets the God in you. And to explore this divine self within all living things, I had to turn to the Upanishad, specifically the Kathopanishad, because it's this sacred Hindu text that really explores the nature and scope of what they call the Atman, which is our true self. And in the Kathopanishad, here are some verses from the first discourse, second part, more than what I've listed in the bulletin. Here's one. It is through Atman that one perceives all objects in sleep or in the waking state. Having realized the vast, all-pervading Atman, the calm soul does not grieve. Another, the size of a thumbprint. It is like a flame without smoke, the Lord of the past and the future. It is the same today and tomorrow. He who knows the individual soul, the experiencer of the fruits of action, as Atman, always near, and the Lord of the past and the future, will not conceal himself from others. This verily is that. Or in Sanskrit, tat dvam asi. That is that. Meaning that the Atman, the true self, is the same as the divine. No separation, no differentiation. Now, Namaste is easy to say after a round of yoga, but more elusive in spiritual application. The description of it being like a thumbprint is likening it to the center of a lotus flower, about that size, but hidden beneath endless petals. Another verse in the Kathopanishad describes it as smaller than a grain of rice. And seeing and embracing our mutual divinity is easy in shared spiritual spaces, but out in the wild, the divinity within some can be buried underneath layers of humanity. The Sunday school song, This Little Light of Mine, tells us not to hide it under a bushel, but there it is. Yet, it gets hidden in some of the people we meet. Our faith assures us that even among the most spiritually challenged of us, there is divinity within, and albeit hidden under a bushel. So after thinking about this, I realized that we have to know that as a last resort, when we have to turn away from someone, you have to understand we are turning away from the bushels, what we're doing. We are not denying their inner light, but sometimes we have to make the decision to turn away from the bushel. Still, understanding that divinity lies within everyone is different from seeing that divinity, knowing that divinity. In the pastoral prayer, I talked about how we cannot be agents of peace if we do not actually know personal peace. So seeing that divinity is different from knowing that divinity. And when I turned this notion of hello in there inward, I was compelled to examine my relationship, as funny as this may seem, my personal relationship with my Atman. The Kathopanishad describes the Atman in this wonderful metaphor. It describes it as the owner and rider of a chariot, which is this body. The intellect is its driver, the mind is the reins, and the senses, the emotions, are the horses. And reflecting on this, I keenly know my body, I know my thoughts, I know my feelings, I spend a lot of time with them. But my Atman, my divine self, is still unfolding. It's still revealing itself to me. And because of this, I naturally spend much more time engaged with my body, my heart, my mind. Last week, Reverend Carlos posted on his social media a tip for communicating in spirit with our pets, or communicating with our pets that are in spirit. And his guidance was to picture our pet in their prime, active, and happy. And in doing so, we're able to call forth the vitality of our pet, but also the vitality of our relationship with that pet when it was with us here on the earth. And that energy becomes a bridge, helping us to manifest them and that relationship in spirit. Now, despite our fate, our divine self can seem elusive and mysterious. And yet, like the writers of the Upanishads, we can and should visualize it, just like Reverend Carlos talked about with our pets. We can and should visualize it, actualize it, celebrate it. And for me, when I made this connection between Reverend Carlos's guidance and this message from Keith's suggestion of hello in there, I realized that that relationship should begin with exactly those words. Hello in there. The channeled spirit White Eagle shares that this is the higher meaning of the scripture, "Lo, I am with you always." In the book, The Quiet Mind, White Eagle reminds us every day, on waking and many times during the day, particularly when you are being overwhelmed and harassed by the affairs of the physical life, pause and remember that it is the little self, the human personality, which is being tried. And then understand that above you in the invisible realms is that greater self, the Christ self. Look into that form of glorious color, that radiant life, and you will feel infinite power flowing into your personality. You will be conscious above your personality of a self which is limitless, which is living God. Now, during our meditation, we're going to spend some time in the company of the glorious color and radiant life of our Atman. But for now, Keith will affirm this message by performing the hymn, "I Am God's Melody in Life."
God's melody of life, he sings his song for me. I am God's rhythm and harmony, he sings his song for me. A song of life, of radiant life, of life so full and free. I am God's melody of life, he sings his song for me.
Now for this meditation, I'm going to employ a journey through the chakras, and we're going to use the color representations. That is a Western thing, just like notes of the the diatonic scale that are sometimes applied to the chakras. That's a Western adaptation to help us better visualize the energy. And so with that understanding, I will be using the colors with with some breath work and some visualization to kind of get us to this point of being in communion with our Atman. And so if you would just close your eyes and just relax your shoulders. And I want you to, we're going to do a couple rounds of box breathing. If you would just breathe through the nose gently, let it go down to your belly. I always tell my music students, to your Buddha belly. And hold it. And release it. Hold the emptiness. And inhale for the count of 4. Hold it. Release for 4. And hold the emptiness. Inhale for 4. Hold the fullness, hold the prana. Release for 4. Hold it for 4. Go ahead and continue breathing in that fashion if you like, or just resume gentle nasal breathing. Now, I want you to place your hands in a prayerful position. Kind of connect your arms and the base of your hands to your heart. I want you to breathe down to the root chakra fully. Vision the air going all the way down to the root chakra. And envision this as a deep ruby red energy center there at the base of the spine. Again, breathe in, energize the root chakra, bring it to life, activate it. Because the root chakra is the source of our personal security and stability. And it enables us to provide that for ourselves and others. I want you to call to mind the ways your highest true self, your Atman, manifests itself in this domain. Take another deep breath through the nose down to the root chakra. And on the exhale, send that deep ruby red energy and place it in between the palms of your hands. Now take another breath and breathe into the sacral chakra right below your belly button. Envision this as a rich orange energy. Sacral chakra is the source of our creativity, our passion, our ability to create and hold intimacy. Breathe down into the sacral chakra, activate it, and call to mind the way your highest true self manifests itself in this domain. All the beautiful things that have been created through your passion, your ability to be intimate. And take another deep breath, and on the exhale, transmit that rich orange energy also into the palms between your hands. Breathe once again, and this time into the solar plexus right there in the center of your gut. Envision this as a golden yellow, a little star, if you will, a little sun. The solar plexus is the source of your personal power and vitality. Breathe in again through the nose to your solar plexus, activate it, let it grow, become vibrant. Call to mind the ways your highest and true self manifests through this domain. How has your life and the life of those around you been made better because of your ability to manifest through this domain? That's your Atman at work. Take another deep breath to the solar plexus, and on the exhale, send that golden energy in between the palms of your hands. These three colors, take a moment to center yourself on these collective powers between your praying hands. Breathe into them. Bring them into life. Become aware of them. Acknowledge their power. Feel their power. Now, breathe once again, this time into the heart. Imagine this energy as a vibrant emerald green. The heart chakra, of course, is the seat of our capacity for love and compassion, both inward and toward others. Call to mind the way your Atman manifests itself in this domain. How have you loved, and how are you loved in return? How are you able to feel loving compassion for those that you don't know and those you know? Send another deep breath into the heart chakra, activating it. And on the exhale, send that luminous green energy between the palms of your hands. Now, centered in our neck lies the throat chakra. Breathe in through the nose and activate this energy center. Imagine it a lustrous blue, a sapphire maybe. The throat chakra brings power to our words and other means of communication, verbal and nonverbal. In such is the source of our ability to trust and be trustworthy. Then again to your throat chakra and call to mind the ways your higher self manifests in this domain. Breathe into the throat chakra and hold it. On the exhale, transfer that blue energy between the palms of your hands. And now, breathe slowly through the nose and send that energy up to your forehead, to the third eye. Imagine this luminescent violet energy, royal violet, royal purple, is jewel between your eyes and your forehead. Because the third eye is our power source for insight and intuition. It renders us open to the higher truth or reality in all things. Breathe in again and hold the prana there, activating this powerful chakra. Call to mind how your higher and true self employs this wonderful power. Excuse me. Breathe again through the nose. Send it up to the third eye. And on the exhale, send to this violet energy, this royal energy between the palms of your hands. Focus your breathing toward these 6 collective energies that you now hold in the palm of your hands. At the ready. And with each breath, increase its collective vibrancy and presence. You may feel it grow, taking up more space between the palms of your hands, or grow warmer. It may vibrate. Continue focusing on this collective energy in your hands that you possess. Because the crown chakra is the culmination of all of these energies. And more importantly, our connection to the divine. This is why it is so often associated with a pure white light. The crown chakra is, of course, a two-way portal, receiving divine energy from the outside world, but also it's how we transmit our own divinity out into the world. Now, focusing on this power between your hands, these colors, breathe in through the nose, but visualize that energy coming in through your crown chakra and into the palms of your hands. Breathe in again, this time more energized. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale through the crown, to the palms, and back up and out again. Breathe this energized cycle a few more times. Now you realize that this collective energy between your hands is your Atman, your true divine self. I want you to breathe energetically from the crown to your hands. Powerful. Inhale out into the palms, and this time on the exhale, open your palms and reveal your divine self, your Atman. Place your hands open in your lap and imagine your higher self, your Atman, seated before you in the same position, just as you are, facing you. Notice what yourself looks like. What does it feel like to be in its full presence? Notice how it regards the human you, the chariot. Say softly to your Atman, hello. Notice its response, if any. I want you to take the next few moments to sit in quiet intimacy with your Atman, your higher self, your true self. Let the sensation of its existence cement itself into your body's memory, into your heart's memory, into your mind. Without words, share with your Atman your feelings in this moment. Do not categorize them. Let them speak for themselves in their own wordless language. Open your heart, open your feelings to your Atman. Ask your Atman if it has a message for you. When you get your response, understanding that silence too is an answer. When you get your response, softly say, thank you. Notice how it responds. Remember, lo, I am with you always. This is a message we offer to our Atman, and our Atman, our our true self offers to us. It's an unbroken and impossible to break covenant. It is irrevocably is. That is that. Now focus on some gentle breathing. Breathe fully into your being. Breathe into the entirety of your body. Breathe again once more, and as you do, bring the palms of your hands together. And with this gesture, allow your Atman, your true self, to reintegrate into the totality of your being, into your body, into your mind, into your heart. And softly say, "Thank you. I will talk to you soon." And when you're ready, breathe in again. And on the exhale, open your eyes and separate the palms of your hands.